sad, and my body is broken, so I'm gonna play my comfort game, Earth Defense Force. I was gonna say 2017, but no, this is 4.1, which is the expansion to 2025, which was EDF 4 in Japan.
Select the number of players.
It's complicated. EDF 3 was the first one that came out in the US, so they titled it 2017. It was also a reboot of the franchise, I guess. Then they made 2025 in, I want to say 2013. And then a few years after that, they released this really big expansion to it called Shadow of New Despair as a standalone game. It's actually very different from the original, maybe more different than 2025 is from 2017. Alright. Maybe you don't know what Earth Defense Force is. It's a game where you shoot bugs and robots. And that is truly all it is, and that's what makes it so perfect. Because all you do is shoot bugs and robots. And so it's very good at letting you shoot bugs and robots with something like 500 different guns across all the classes in this version, I think. I just turned the cover art inside out when I realized that it had an inside out, so I can't check the box. There are 4 classes. Ranger is. Hey, shut up! I'm trying to talk. Don't. Let me explain it. Okay, I'm just gonna close that so we're not both talking. All right, so there's Ranger. Ranger is just your basic infantry. They use lots of assault rifles, shotguns, grenade launchers, rocket launchers, sniper rifles, which usually aren't very useful, and then lots of weird one-off weapons. Wing divers are, well, they fly. That's their deal. Their gameplay is very different from Rangers. They have a plasma generator, and it powers both their weapons and their jetpack. Most weapons have a magazine that charges from your generator when you reload, so it doesn't actively draw power while firing, but some do. And then if you run out of power, you're sort of helpless for a little while unless you have a loaded magazine in one of your weapons. The game, lore-wise, seems to have a very bad idea of what different classes are good at. Wing divers are actually by far the best class for melee combat. It's no contest, especially in tunnels. They use their weapons, like I said, are plasma based, so they have like these lightning guns that shoot arcs of lightning that travel along surfaces and through enemies. And in tunnel levels, they're like the deadliest thing you could possibly use, even above any sort of rocket launcher or grenade launcher.
Choose
Air Raiders, I have beaten the game as one alone. You're really not supposed to. They're a support class. The one reason you can beat the game with them is that they're the class that can call in vehicles. Actually, some of their later regular weapons are pretty good. They can also call in airstrikes. So their main purposes are you can call in vehicles and support your allies that way. Call in airstrikes, which don't reload like normal weapons. They essentially, once you use them, it starts counting points from all kills that your team gets, and you have to get a certain number of points before you can use an airstrike again. Same goes for vehicles. And then they have a couple. You'll see the Fencer class has some heavy missiles that require air raiders to use laser designators or target beacons. And then they also have this, which is a limpet gun. It shoots little remote mines. And they also have something. I forget exactly what it's called. I think it's like razor wire, but it basically works like the spider webs in the game, and it's pretty useful.
Fencer.
And finally, there's Fencer. They're slow. They have a very interesting momentum system. They can't change directions quickly. The heavier the weapons they're carrying, the more that the aim actually drifts. So, like, when you move the stick, it's moving your target point, but it takes time for the weapon to catch up depending on what you have equipped. And they also have the ability to carry shields and heavy melee weapons and just straight up artillery pieces. I find they're more useful for either melee in certain environments, but a lot of levels it's not usable at all, or just putting really big guns on and shooting from a distance before they catch you and destroy you because you can't run away. They do get to carry 2 sets of 2 weapons though, which is neat. But also they have the heavy missiles and stuff that require an air raider in co-op to use. I'm just gonna use a
Ranger, wing diver, Ranger, wing diver, Ranger, wing diver.
I think I want to play as a wing diver.
Choose loadout. Wing
So let's
divers
see.
can equip 2 weapons.
I think it's more fun to show the weapons, except for particle cannons. These are like regular. These are the closest things to like a regular machine gun or handgun that they have, but they have this incredibly bizarre property where it's not just that the projectiles inherit your motion. Like if you're moving to the left, the projectiles will also move to the left instead of going exactly where you aim them, but they amplify your momentum, which doesn't really make any sense. So if you're moving a little bit to the left, they go way to the left. And I hate that, so I never ever use particle cannons.
Select a mission. Select a difficulty. Trying higher. Deploying.
Also, you're supposed to play these difficulties more or less in order. You gain armor and weapons by playing,
This is a
and
special
you
news
can
flash.
probably start
We're
it hard,
broadcasting to you live from the
but
scene. What in
you're
the
really
world?
supposed to start on normal,
People
and
are being
then
attacked
easy
by
is just
giant
there if you really need it.
Thought to have been exterminated 7 years ago, the insects actually survived.
So yeah, there was 2017, and now this is 2025. So this is 8 years after. I don't know why she said 7 years. Probably because the first game takes about a year. So yeah, it's 7 years after the end of the first game.
Yes, sir!
We gotta make a mistake, right?
It has to be. The giant insects were supposed to be exterminated 7 years ago.
We're getting giant insects! It's huge!
So this is what the rapier type weapons do. They're like little automatic lightsabers that point in all different directions. Or alternately just extremely... Okay, well I got grabbed. That's not fun. Something that's really counterintuitive about this game is there's no notion of like damage resistance like armor. There's just the amount of health you have. So weapons like the rapier and machine guns have pretty high DPS, but only affect one target. And rocket launchers and plasma launchers have much lower damage but a wide area of effect. And so you actually want to use explosives on soft targets and conventional weapons against hard targets, which is pretty backwards, but whatever, at least it's consistent. Or at least you want to use them against crowds of soft targets. There's really no reason to use it right now. And explosives do have friendly fire. Though, depending on your difficulty in this version, the friendly fire is reduced. I think on normal difficulty, you take 1/4 friendly fire damage. So one thing that you may have noticed that the graphics aren't necessarily stellar. That was actually sort of a selling point of the games when they were first made. Earth Defense Force was made as part of these packs of games that were really cheaply made, but you got like a whole bunch of them for the price of a normal game. And the graphics have always kind of stayed on that very low level, at least in terms of model quality and stuff, just out of tradition. But this is actually the first entry that has dynamic lighting. So like the red light being cast on the ground and stuff from my lasers and stuff. This is the first version of any of the EDF games that has that, and it's actually, I really like it, even though it's kind of been standard forever in other games. It's still like a really nice thing to add to it. And part of the reason for that also is that there are sometimes like hundreds of enemies spraying particle-based weapons all over the place. So on PC, this game can actually, it's also the first EDF game that came out on PC. This game actually can chug even on powerful computers, and it always has a very noticeable hitch in the frame rate whenever it spawns in new enemies, even if they don't show up on radar immediately, which is just sort of a useful thing to know as you're playing. So whenever you're running around and you just see a momentary hitch, it means, kind of like in the Matrix really, that more enemies have just appeared somewhere. Oh, right. AI vehicles. AI vehicles are completely new in 4.1. They had tanks and helicopters and everything in 2017 and 2025, but 4.1 is the first time that you see the AI use them, which is also pretty neat. And when I said the graphics are bad on like a model quality level, what I mean is that they actually do some pretty sophisticated simulation. Like with these vehicles, these tanks, the axles, I guess, in the treads are individually articulated. They'll each move as you drive over terrain. The tank cannons have recoil, as you can see.
Yes, sir!
They put a whole lot of work into like how things move without changing the traditional look of the game, and I really appreciate that. It's hard to both make it look good and make it look like EDF. Oh jeez. Oh yeah, so another thing I forgot to mention about this game is that, so you've probably noticed at this point the weapon and armor pickups all over the place. That's how you gain strength, that's how you get new weapons, and when all the enemies are dead, it ends whether you've collected them or not, which generally means near the end of the level, it's a good idea to start killing your teammates, so that you can run around and pick up the pickups. God damn it. Started too late. Shit, weapon. Duh. Let's see. Plasma shot sucks. All of these kind of suck. Takes a while to get to the better weapons. But I might as well show you.
Wing divers can equip
So let's see.
2 weapons.
The LRSL family is continuous beam sniper rifles. It's, as I it's much like a machine gun. It's more useful against hard targets like the robot walkers later, because you can just keep the beam on them for a while. Whereas it's very annoying to try to use against a moving ant at any range. This is the proto Thunder Sniper. The later Thunder Snipers are pretty great. This one's just too weak to use. But it basically shoots giant bolts of lightning that deflect off surfaces and deal tons of damage. And it's one of the more useful weapons in some levels. The plasma shot is like a plasma launcher, but it's a shotgun, and all the projectiles do very little damage, and it's useless. Mid-range lasers, I'll just use this one. It's the closest equivalent of just an assault rifle that they have.
Select deploying.
Giant insects! They're being attacked! Shoot! Save the citizens!
Yes, sir!
I feel like I should maybe not talk over some of this, because one of the really great things about this is it has it's basically it's a B movie. Its plot is extremely cheesy, but like they go for it. The voice actors in this game are great. Like they have some really stupid lines, and they just go all out on them. And oh shit, that's right. Unfortunately, I can't quite do the songs because it used to be in all of the other EDFs, only the AI ever said anything. So there's no song audio for the wing divers who are women. All wing divers are women. I don't remember why. Oh, also they're psychics. I should mention that all wing divers are also psychics. And they're controlling their weaponry partly with their mind. That's one of my favorite barks is this is probably intuited a Japanese game. And a lot of the lines, the reasons that they're very cheesy is that they're somewhat poorly translated. So when the Japanese line for "my gun is jammed" got changed to "my bullets are stuck."
Yes, I'm the Ravager researcher, O'Hara. I would like to offer advice to the soldiers. After examining dead giant insects, I found something surprising. In 7 years, they have evolved and grown stronger. They are covered by a stronger shell and cannot be killed easily. But it is not a problem. EDF's equipment has also grown stronger in 7 years. You can definitely beat the evolved giant insects.
Yes, sir!
I wish you good luck in battle.
Prepare to shoot!
Thanks, Ravager researcher O'Hara.
Don't let up until it takes
There's an American-made EDF game that's a spin-off. In the mainline EDF games, you play as a Japanese branch of the Earth Defense Force, and they made an American one that introduced the core class system, which they kept for 2025. It's the only thing they kept because the game's not very good. I mean, it's fine, but it's not nearly as good as the rest of the series. But they make a lot of jokes about poorly translated Japanese and having difficulty understanding what the Japanese EDF is telling them because their translation computers are all down and they're having it all translated by college interns. besides just the generally good voice acting, a really interesting thing about the barks in this game is they have a call and response system for the AI. They have questions they'll ask each other or statements they'll make, and then they also have a variety of replies they can make. And while if they ask a question, they'll give like a yes or no answer. It won't necessarily be an answer that makes sense. So sometimes they'll be like, "Hey, why did you join the army? For some reason." Or, "Watch my back, I'm reloading." No. What did I get?
Loadout.
I wasn't really paying
Wing
attention.
divers can equip 2 weapons.
Plasma grenades, also completely useless. They're, the one benefit that plasma grenades have is they don't draw from your plasma at all. They just have a fixed reload time like ranger weapons do. So they make good backups, but like you can only carry 2 weapons, and carrying this as one of them is stupid. And the Mirage this is where them being psychic comes in. They lock onto targets with their mind and then guide energy balls to it with their mind. This one, at least, isn't very good. But they're more useful against aerial targets that are often fast-moving and hard to hit. I'm going to switch back to the rapier. Oh, shit, I totally forgot. I can change my colors. That doesn't look quite right. That's better. You can also turn down your health value, just because, I guess. Also, the armor pickups that you get grant different amounts of health to each class. Fencers get more, wing divers get less.
Select a mission. Select a difficulty.
And they also have different starting healths. So wing divers will tend to be physically less resilient throughout the game, but really the jetpack way more than makes up for it.
Connect with units on the sea. We have confirmed surviving giant insects. Kill on sight. There are only a few survivors. Don't hold back.
Piling up enemy bodies is actually a significant hazard sometimes, especially in tunnels. Especially if you're using explosives in tunnels. A tunnel can very quickly be choked up with dead enemies that you can't move past. And they do disappear after a few seconds, but you kill them pretty quickly.
Close your eyes and shoot.
Understood, sir.
Bullets, back me up. I'll take care of it.
Crap, I don't have bullets.
Oh, there's no audio for that one.
I'll do my best.
Where's the medic?
Give me a hand.
Get him! On your right, sir. Leave it to me.
Prepare for the next battle.
Yes, sir.
This is Ranger 9.
Something you maybe noticed, but I never bothered highlighting, is another major feature of these games is buildings are all destructible. It used to be any explosion would immediately level any building. Now they often take a few hits depending on the weapon you're using. Fencers especially can knock down like skyscrapers in one shot with some of their weapons. But after the more intense missions, the city that you fought in tends to be completely leveled, which is an interesting feature of the game. One kind of strange change from 2017 to 2025 is that civilians can be hit now. They still can't be killed, but they were basically everything passed through them in 2017, whereas now sometimes they can be a problem for rangers if they're trying to use explosives.
The enemy is far away. Aim well.
Yes, sir. Ready.
Oh yeah, here's another thing you can do in this game. See the guy in the red helmet? He is a squad leader.
Stay calm and aim.
Yes, sir. The enemy's approaching.
Shot.
I'll protect
I'll
you,
be your
officer.
friend.
They're on the way.
Now they're my squad. And you can do that to as many squads as you want, and then they'll follow you around. Sometimes squad leaders will be marked with those red arrows, and then they will lead you. They will follow you along with their squad, which is convenient because then you don't have to shoot them to death.
Many survivors. The giant insect's vital force is stronger than I ever imagined. If they were evolving underground, hidden away, we won't know what to expect. We have to investigate.
You're getting closer.
EDF is coming.
Why aren't the wing divers here yet?
I'm here. The narration of the campaign also very much assumes you're playing as a ranger.
Wing divers are heading over there right now.
Brave soldier.
Oh yeah, dismemberment, also a feature. Oh, my back hurts. Oh, I burned out my generator. Uh-oh. I somehow didn't notice the loud beeping. I was focused on getting to that weapon.
Getting rid of this many bugs is gonna make my life out of ammo. I guess I have to believe that.
The Soldier A said, killing this many bugs is gonna make my wife proud. And Soldier B said, I guess I have to believe that.
Roger. It's time to hunt. Where's our prey?
It's the wing divers! The wing divers are here! The goddesses of victory have arrived! The giant insects
Everyone's really unbelievably hyped about wing divers. Considering we can jump good more than we can fly, they seem absolutely convinced that the ability to fly makes us invincible.
Remember, speed is life, and avoid enemy attack.
Like, they spit acid, they can hit us in the air.
I'm ready for...
Wing divers are fighting. Ranger team, Storm team, this is your chance. Exterminate all the giant insects.
Plasma also inherits your momentum, but to a much lesser degree, especially because of its higher forward velocity. But it is a ballistic projectile, and boosting up when you fire can greatly increase its range.
Has been broken with Wing Diver 4. Looks like something happened.
Understood,
Storm team, head to the scene. What's going on?
Askin just firing from higher up.
There's no way the Wing divers would lose.
Straight ahead!
Ooh, I got a lance.
Choose loadout.
Lances are like a heavy version of the rapiers. They fire a single short-range beam, which is longer and more powerful. It can one-shot most bugs and do pretty good damage against walkers as well.
Select a mission. Select a difficulty. The high deploying.
Understanding shields.
This is Scout 2. We've arrived at the rescue point. There's a web strung up between the buildings. The thread! The citizens are being caught! What is happening? We found wing divers!
Set me free!
How could this happen?
I realize that spiders catch flies, but like, are they just blind or stupid? How do they keep flying into them? I've accidentally flown into a Retarius web like twice in my life, and I've played this game a lot.
Wing diver, I'm captured by the enemy! He set a trap to catch us. I can't move at all.
They caught us like bees in the trap. Bees in the trap.
Storm team, rescue the Wing divers.
You won't get away with this! Giant insects! The trap! Retreat! We'll all be killed! Damn it!
Retarius strands, however, are much more dangerous.
I'm stuck in the web!
The only way to break free of one is to shoot the Retarius that created it, and that can be a problem because they have a tendency to fire at very long ranges, like say that one targeted me. They'll have a tendency to fire up to arc their projectiles towards you, and only the very end of the thread has any hit collision or hit detection. So say it shot a web over these two buildings and hit me, I'd be pulled straight into that building, and it would just keep holding me there until I managed to push myself around the building so it could keep reeling me in, or blew the building up or something. Oh shit, hey.
Wing divers, what happened? Damn it.
Yes, sir!
humans made wing divers in order to eliminate the giant insects. But the Ravager technology has evolved beyond that.
Ravagers are the aliens that brought the giant insects in 2017.
Yes, sir! Understood! I'm being pulled! Save me! I don't want to die! I'll pay you back someday! I don't want to... Ready! Yes, sir! Keep the threat off! Is this right overkill? Save me! Save me! Overkill! Are you over there? Do something! Yes, sir! Shoot! I'm gonna die! I can't hurry! I'm being pulled away! The enemy! Give him a warm welcome!
This is just an annoying level. I keep playing it. It's even more annoying as a wing diver when I fill up my plasma. Hey, at least you fell down. Now I can stab him. Also, you get basically nothing for doing this level because each Rotarius drops like 2 items and they're almost never weapons. God damn it, I'm stuck. Fell on me.
Don't come here! I don't want to die! Ready to shoot! I'll shoot you dead! Aim! Yes, sir! There! Don't be afraid! Let's go!
These window ledges are essential if you want to actually gain altitude as a wing diver. It's the only way up to the top of most of these buildings. Oh yeah, so there aren't that many maps in Earth Defense Force, but it will seem like there are because this is what each map looks like. I mean, they vary, obviously, but there are pretty major divisions of each. Like that one over there, there's a whole level that will mostly just be in that construction site over there, which I think is called Silver Wind, and it's even worse than this one. It's like this level on steroids, basically.
Progress of the giant insects exceeds human wisdom. Progress faster than science is impossible, but...
Progress faster than science is impossible. Oh, that's right. Another problem with the Rotarius is any building that those webs are attached to is indestructible. Because then the web wouldn't be supported by anything. So if a Rotarius sticks you with a web that is glitched through a building that is connected to a Rotarius web, there's no way to get around it other than struggling your way around the side of the building. Which is easier for wing divers with their jetpacks, but other classes can get stuck very badly. Again, if anything, wing divers are one of the better classes to face Rotarius, and the narrative just doesn't know what it's talking about.
Select a mission. Select a difficulty.
Min
Try
cheer.
deploying.
Yeah, airstrikes from air raiders are where the dynamic lighting really pays off. Because, like, some of the airstrikes are just like a blinding flash and everything's dark for a while.
Wing divers are trained to defeat giant insects on land. But a giant insect that can capture wing divers has appeared.
Please be quiet. Being stuck in those webs deals damage over time. It's not just that you get stuck. And there is no way out but to destroy them completely. All in all, Rotarius are terrible to deal with. Not in the sense that they're actually that dangerous, just that I hate them. And I wish they were not in the game. there were some interesting enemies in that American spinoff game that could have been added instead of Retarius, but oh well. I can't even remember what that game's called right now. Please be quiet. I will cut you down just to shut you up.
Rescue the people caught in the web. Don't leave them behind, no matter what.
Yes, sir! I have to go home. There's no way I'm gonna die here.
System down!
So, here's a fun thing about the AI. They don't really discriminate. Is that ant? No, okay, it was just behind that building. Ooh. Yeah, it was in this alley. I thought that ant crawled out of the building. Yeah, the AI, not big on discriminating between walls and their target. If the closest enemy is on the other side of the wall, they'll just shoot at it. And sometimes that works out. Some of the Rangers have rocket launchers, and if they just keep shooting long enough, they'll eventually hit it. I actually do that sometimes. With the radar, you can pretty accurately determine what direction a faraway enemy is, and if you have like a Ranger's rocket launcher that just travels in a straight line, you can just sort of shoot in that direction until the blip goes away. Which I only really do if it's like the last enemy in the level and it's very far away, and I don't feel like going over there. Or sometimes because blowing up houses is fun.
Even new species are being born. The speed of the bastard's progress is unfathomable. At this rate, Earth will become a giant insect planet.
Oh shit. That almost got me.
As soon as possible.
Standing right next to Retarius is actually a little dangerous. This is because they fire those shotgun blasts of web. Oh, there's me. What took you so long?
I can't get the somebody!
Don't come this way!
It's pulling me!
Take this thread off! Somebody! Somebody! I don't want to die! Somebody! Somebody! Giant insects are coming! Someone! Anyone help me! Hurry! Save me! I'm sorry! Save me! I can't run away! Thank you! Somebody! Help me! It's coming! He's coming!
It's so red! I take credit for this! Somebody!
Over here! Giant insects are coming!
I can't move! Don't just watch! Help me!
No time to lose. We need to go underground to destroy the nest and stop their progress. If Retarius has spawned there, we might have to expect more new species coming out later. There is a danger that the flying insects
Coming
may
soon.
have evolved, and they could be superior to our wing divers. We can never let the giant insects take over the Earth.
These cars are just disappearing. Impulse from weapons is generally based on how much damage they do. So, naturally a rocket does more. In 2017, this was really funny with the Hectors that you'll see later. I guess I'll talk about it when they're actually on screen so it makes sense.
Select a mission. Choose loadout. Wing divers can equip 2 weapons. Choose loadout. Select a mission. Select a
These missions are the real reason that they bothered adding a lighting system to EDF, because traditionally the underground levels were as well lit as anything else.
Unchallenged. We have to wipe them out before that happens. All units, begin operation.
This way! They know about the stuff! Understood! We're making the fire!
The good news is that corpses are collision opaque to enemy movement as well as your own. The bad news is most of their ranged attacks do go straight through it, or straight through them. And you can get weapons that have the same properties because they shoot the same projectiles.
Air raiders, call
But,
for depth crawlers to support the assault unit.
Yeah, let me tell you, these levels are very different when you can see everything. Fortunately, you don't really need to see everything, you can just shoot everything.
This way! Come here!
It survived after all that? We just have to destroy it. So who the hell said that the giant insects are endangered? Compared to this, humans are the endangered
Why
species.
are they so far behind me?
The Ravagers might just be waiting for humans to be destroyed by the giant insects.
That's impossible!
Whatever.
Maybe they're waiting.
It's not that they're helpful.
Stop it!
There are missions where AI companions are very helpful, if only because enemies shoot at them instead of you. But there's not enough enemies or allies for that to matter in this game. It's mostly in levels with large numbers of aerial enemies that can get to you quickly, where you suddenly realize how much your allies were doing when every single enemy in the level comes your way after killing the last AI. It's rough. Like, if there's you and one other guy, you are literally taking half as much damage just because that one guy is absorbing half of the fire, or at least it's being aimed at him. Especially if you are very far away from him.
This is Ranger 21. We're fighting a giant spider-like bug. The threat! Crap!
A giant spider-like bug, not to be confused with a giant spider-like bug that we just fought.
I can't believe it. So many giant insects have survived.
Take it down!
The threat! I can't move!
Yes!
Oh boy, here they come.
It's no use. They got stronger.
Where are you?
We thought we were getting rid of them, but they were increasing. The Earth is contaminated. Giant insects are like a nasty virus. I can't believe this nest is so huge.
Regular spiders are maybe
If we don't do it now, mankind
the
will be
most
destroyed.
dangerous enemy in the game, in my opinion, in large numbers. Less so for wing divers because they can get away more readily, but fencers carrying heavy weapons can be completely stopped if they get ganged up on by spiders, because each strand that hits you slows you down just a little bit for a little while. But fencers are already so slow with heavy weaponry that you can just get held down, and then you just have to kill enough spiders that you can get away before they kill you.
What is this? More and more casualties.
God. Boy, I hope no one has like arachnophobia, because this is a fucked up tunnel full of spiders. I have had it happen in this level that a spider somehow glitched through the wall, and like I killed every enemy in the level, and then realized there was one enemy that just kept falling from top to bottom over and over and over again, just outside the wall, because you could, the AI would of course shoot at it even though it was behind a wall. So you'd see them aim up and down and up and down.
What is this?
I'm actually at like half health. I should grab a pickup. Radar is always valuable in this game, but especially so in these levels. Where there can be a giant spider like 20 feet in front of you, but your flashlight doesn't illuminate that far.
It's a fight we must win. But
Oh, Jesus.
I requested backup from the Air Force. The heavy air support aircraft Whale with the 120mm cannon is heading this way. It will blow the giant insects away.
God damn it. Plasma projectiles are kind of big, so it's very easy to clip a ledge like that. For better or worse, enemies also suffer from the shoot at the wall syndrome. In this case, it's causing that spider to just hang out where it is, where I can't see it, because it figures it can just shoot from there. Normally they'll advance towards you more, but... Interesting. Oh, I see. The radar is actually 3D, and I could see the insects were above me, so I was very confused. Apparently they got lured back here by the AI somehow, which never followed me down into the tunnels. Here we go, somewhere. Shit, they're on the other side of this wall. God damn it. Sometimes that can work. This doesn't really have a big enough blast radius to do it, though. The walls aren't paper thin. It's okay. I know where that tunnel is. I just went the wrong way. Oh, that one came out. So did that one.
Artillery unit dispatching as requested. Self-propelled howitzer and self-propelled rocket launcher are heading this way. Once they arrive, you can get fire support.
The fight starts now.
And there's the wall. These walls that look very out of place are walls that can be added and removed depending on the level. So that there aren't that many different tunnel areas, but their paths can be rearranged. There are only like 10 or 12 underground levels, I think.
Select a mission. Choose a class. Ranger.
No, I'm gonna switch to Ranger. I'm not far enough in the game that
Select a mission.
the
Select
fact
a
I haven't played the
deploy.
earlier missions yet is gonna screw me over. I need to use the bathroom, so I'll be right back. Please hold. Alright.
All units, attack the giant insects. Don't leave any alive.
This giant insect shoots threat. Don't get caught.
This giant insect is tough. Fight carefully.
O'Hara is way too fixated on whether or not things can fly. They can jump and they can walk on walls, so... Though actually, one small mercy of spiders is they don't walk on walls very often. Unlike ants, they tend to jump from place to place, and they can't jump up a building. So as an air raider, you can fly up to the top of a building, and if you have a weapon that can reach the bottom, you're safe, more or less. But there are levels where that doesn't work for reasons we'll see later.
Air support aircraft whale is in the air above you. Bombardment from the air is possible. Lead the target to air raider.
Very strange switch classes.
Ground forces, don't worry. You have a friend in the air.
This mission's voiceover is especially weird because ostensibly they're introducing air raiders, but like there are no AI air raiders.
20mm gun already.
So either you've had air support the whole time because someone's playing as an air raider, or they're just now introducing themselves for some reason and saying that they've just arrived.
Confirmed transport helicopter Hydra formation. It looks like the transport unit Porters has arrived.
It's here.
I still don't know if it's called porters, borders, or quarters.
Transporting state-of-the-art vehicles.
There are no subtitles for this game, and I hate that.
Okay. Porters, stand by in the air. Wait for support request.
I'm pretty sure it's boarders or porters. Porters makes more sense, but it does sound like borders.
Unit porters arrived on the scene. Ready to drop vehicle upon request.
Also, it's not like most of the other names make a ton of sense anyway.
Artillery unit has arrived.
Roger. Executing support mission. Self-propelled howitzer and rocket launcher preparations complete.
And for some reason, the artillery
Visual indicator
units just don't have a name. Everyone else does.
They'll break into
All the bomber wings, the gunship, the people who drop off your other vehicles, all have names except the artillery people.
Are you okay, sir?
Stay calm and aim.
Yes, sir.
Ready to fire.
Shit. Let's get that out.
Yes, sir. We can't die here.
Don't hold back. Keep shooting.
Yes, sir. Hold on. I'm out of bullets. Back me up. Hang on. Commander, I won't let you down.
Reloading.
Back me up. Yes, sir.
Understood. We're gonna put you to work.
Yes, sir.
Straight ahead.
Rolling diagonally is the fastest way to get places as a ranger. Also, their roll counts as an attack on environmental objects.
Hold your fire. They'll notice us.
Yes, sir.
God damn it! Can I hit? And I'm hitting everything except the spider. Hit another fence.
Prepare for battle.
Yes, sir.
I got like 2 cars, 2 fences, and a tree before the spider.
Commander, are you okay, sir? It just won't die.
Joe, get him.
Yes, sir.
Don't hold back. You can do it.
Take a look at that. Information has leaked. This...
Turn him into Swiss cheese.
You alive?
Sir, yes, sir.
Oh, here he comes.
The information was announced by the media.
They got wind of it, huh? Well, fine. They would find out sooner or later.
But Commander, what did they find out? Oh, the air tortoise. The air tortoise is a lock-on missile that moves slower than you can run. And then causes a blast that's like 20 meters across
Choose loadout.
when it
Rangers
hits.
can equip 2 weapons.
Yeah, 20 meters across. And that's just the Air Tortoise 1. Okay, private. Oh, no,
Choose
just a second
loadout. Rangers can equip 2 weapons.
I'm gonna use the grenade launcher. Actually, wait, which mission
Select a
is this?
mission. Selected
Yeah, I'm gonna use the grenade
deploying.
launcher. Grenade launchers tend to be faster and more powerful than rocket launchers, but rockets fly in a straight line
Strategic Command HQ to Storm Team.
and often have a better reload time.
Go back them up.
Grenade launchers are not especially accurate. But it's good enough. Bugs are very large. And they're the smallest enemies there are.
It's all thanks to you.
Don't stop! Run away! Counterattack is coming!
Understood. Yes, sir.
Grenade launchers are also automatic, unlike rocket launchers. Generally, there are different kinds. The 500 weapons in EDF aren't just like 500 slightly different versions of the same gun. There are generally a couple versions of each gun, but there's a lot of variety.
Understood. I'm out of ammo. Sounds good.
Look for the next one. Understood. They're on the way! The enemy!
This game is like really graphic in the way that little kids' drawings can be graphic. Like, you hit a bug with a grenade launcher and like, there goes its leg. There was blood spray all over the place, but it's so cartoonish that it doesn't feel gory. Oh, that's right. I can do this now.
Yes, sir. Vicious giant insects who have once again come back. We'll unleash all our forces. We will hunt them anyway. The EDF decoys. Go from the left. The Navy launches ships. The Air Force sends their jets. The EDF decoys.
Tonight, the Ravager motherships have gathered on the moon's surface. EDF has just confirmed that this information is true. Apparently, the EDF already knew about it. We are protesting the EDF for hiding this information, but the important thing is that the world is threatened again.
I'll join you.
In case you weren't paying attention or couldn't hear the audio, there are multiple alien motherships on the moon. The final boss of the first game was one alien mothership.
Influence the Ravagers and giant insects have on each other.
Everyone we got!
Yes, sir.
Although the reappearance of giant insects was at first thought to be an isolated incident, we must now weigh it against the presence of Ravagers on the moon. Certainly these two events are somehow connected.
Hold on! Fight! Two! Understood!
Let's ask HQ. We need a commander. Magazine. I've been shot. Yes, sir.
The battle stops again.
Yes, sir.
There's a spider out there somewhere. That must be pretty close. It's moving fast around the edge. Yep, now it's in range.
I'll win this battle. The enemy is here. Scouting report. Enemy found. Sir, yes, sir. I'll follow you.
The information obtained from the EDF says that there are a total of 10 motherships gathered on the moon's surface. This is 10 times the forces that they had last time. Humanity has been preparing for another possible Ravager invasion. However, no one was expecting an alien force this large. Is there really anything the EDF can do?
The enemy. Throw away. Throw away.
You can see they've decided to focus on the AI units over there, which, sorry AI guys, makes a very easy target for these grenades. Jesus Christ. You can see why even looking like this, computers can chug on it. Looks like 100 spiders breaking into a dozen pieces and trailing several particles of thread each. And on higher difficulties, they shoot many times more thread per attack. They only shoot like 3 on normal. Yeah, they shoot 3 on normal. I think they shoot like 10 on very hard. And Inferno, I don't even know.
We won't cut them any slack.
They got cut off there.
Next fight, let me be the one to take care of it.
I do like that there are like 4 or 5 versions of them shouting EDF, and if you pick any of them, all of your followers will just pick one at random. The reason rolling diagonally is fast is just because you don't roll if you jump forward.
We have a big problem.
And rolling is faster than walking.
What'd you say?
They have left the moon for the Earth.
Damn it. Who has the means to fight off 10 motherships? Even with the EDF's increased strength, we don't have the manpower.
Tracking systems at all locations are locked on. All silos open. Missiles ready to launch.
Startup sequence of Equator linear cannon has commenced. We will try to defeat the motherships by aiming for their atmospheric entry.
When the linear cannon fires, the long-distance Tempest attack will begin.
Still, we can't hope to destroy them all. This is gonna be hell.
Well, that's optimistic. I said that the story is really schlocky and silly, and that's true of everything in the script, but I actually think that if you take the first game into account, this game has a really interesting arc to it, which is the first 30 missions or so are basically a compressed version of the previous game. Some of these missions are note for note identical to previous ones, just with more enemies and more allies. The idea being that Ravagers come back and they bring 10 times as many people, and you hit them back 10 times as hard. And then things really devolve from there, as you might imagine. Oh yeah. Got this multiple launch rocket. A. I don't know what that the A stands for. This is a very powerful shotgun, but it's a very slow shotgun.
Select a mission.
Beach Fear. Okay. Not
Choose
grenade
loadout.
launcher then.
Rangers can equip 2 weapons. Choose loadout.
You know what? What's the
Rangers
range on
can
this?
equip 2
Oh,
weapons.
yeah, this is the one that has... It's a shotgun, but its range and accuracy is actually almost as good as an assault rifle.
Select a difficult. Deploying.
This is headquarters. Exterminate Retarius.
Why are they so bunched up?
Keep fighting. We can't let them run loose. Exterminate them. Yes, sir!
Vague questions.
Aim! Yes, sir! Let's look for enemies. Well, at least this will be finished. Good job.
I'm not dead.
Chill, lady. The 4-second reload time on the Buffalo G1 is... Actually, most of the Buffalo weapons have a 4-second reload time. It's very annoying. Is that 130 meters? Yeah, that's fine.
Don't just watch me die! Fight this weapons rate! I'll get eaten! My body is stubbornly control me! Yes, sir! I can't die here!
Oh, god damn it! Shit. No, not again. This is what I was talking about. See, I can't see the thing that's got me. There we go. Though, on normal, I guess it doesn't do that much damage. Alright, shook it loose. break on through to the other side.
The mothership fleet is beginning to drop to Earth.
Shoot that!
It's finally beginning. The Earth's fate will be determined now.
The threat!
Our aircrafts are being stopped by the mothership air defense system and cannot get close. Long-distance attack is our best option.
This army's huge. Just
Linear cannon discharged. Impact. One mothership destroyed.
We did it?
Okay.
watch the flanks. Understood. Let me take care of the next hit. Got it.
Linear cannon is recharging. Tempest first formation launch. Tempest is approaching target now. Tempest impact. One ship sunk. Two ships at half damage. Well done!
All right.
I'm sorry, how do you know the mothership is at half damage?
Linear cannon discharged again. Impact. Wait. Enemy is not damaged.
We missed?
Tempest. Second formation, impact. Enemy is not damaged.
Did it miss?
Tempest impact. Still no damage. How can that be?
Oh my god.
Linear
Oh,
cannon
come on.
Enemy not damaged.
What's going on?
Which Retarius is it? You.
Tempest impact. We cannot confirm damage.
It's a shield screen. They must be protecting the mothership with a shield screen.
Yeah, for some reason they call force field shield screens. But it's consistent, at least.
Linear cannon impact. Enemy no damage. Tempest fifth formation impact. Enemy no damage. It looks like attacks are being obstructed by something like a wall.
It is a shield screen big enough to cover the mothership. What kind of technology is this?
I don't know why they assumed they didn't have force fields for their motherships. I guess because we killed the last one. They did have shield screens. Just only on a few things. Oh good, there's no AI and the big wave is coming. Actually, maybe there is AI. That thing's not shooting at me. also coming at me from my right. I'm hoping to get over there and punch through so I'm on the same side of all of them. So they're all on the same side of me. Instead of getting pincered. I think they might be just attacking civilians. Another level where you get basically nothing.
Select a mission. Choose loadout. Choose loadout. Rangers can equip 2 weapons.
Yeah, this is a healing gun. Only works on other players though,
Select a mission.
so you can't use it on
Select a
yourself.
difficult. Deploying.
There are a few air raider utilities that can heal you, but mostly it's only for other players.
This is live footage. Be advised that what you are about to see may be disturbing to some viewers. After 7 years, the Earth is once again under siege. The Ravager fleet has split up and motherships are focusing their attacks on major Earth cities. Our time on this Earth, our home, may be at an end.
It's interesting, they, I don't remember if they changed this in 4.1, but in, they various nets and webs.
Yes, sir!
Fighter has already left from the Kirikawa Air Base. It's on an intercept course.
Possibly.
Missile will soon hit a mothership. It didn't make it.
Easy for you to say. Show them.
Attack failed. The missile hit the shield screen. Mothership suffered no damage.
We still have work to do. For honor!
For honor.
Fighter, commencing attack.
For some reason,
It's hopeless. Obstructed by the shield screen.
you're not shaking. It only seems like that. EDF! EDF!
Oh. None of these guys are following me.
Obey your command. Commander! I will obey you. I'll protect you, officer. Hey!
The attack failed. The mothership is unscathed.
Damn it. If they can put up a shield screen, we were preparing for another attack by the Ravagers. But they prepared more than us, and returned stronger than we imagined.
There! Let me shoot! Enemy approaching!
Mothership entering combat area.
Oh yeah.
Reloading! I want to go home. I'll finish this in no time. Loading! Mission complete. My hands. Keep up with the commander. Shaking. You won't fail if you follow the commander. That's absolutely.
Ah! Yeah, there it is.
Why did you get married? For some reason.
Genocide gun!
That is called the genocide gun. Ow! What the fuck? I think I hit a tree. It's reacting as though I can damage it, but I'm pretty sure I've tried it with endgame weapons and it can't actually be shot down. Yeah, that's what the genocide gun does.
Major 5 is in the blast range.
Damn it! Look! It's another ship!
It can be difficult to appreciate how large that thing is because it's very far away. That's also just like a small part of the mothership.
So they were contacting them, huh?
It's certain that the Ravagers were waiting until the giant insects contaminated the Earth.
We haven't been spotted yet.
The Ravagers' method is to release giant insects and to wait while they spread across an entire planet. Maybe the Ravagers didn't need to hurry, so they chose to take a break in order to get ready for their return, thus allowing time for the Earth to be covered with giant insects.
No one ever really posits the theory that, you know, maybe there's just another giant ant flying one of those things. But, I mean, that's fair. The ants don't seem very smart.
All units, exterminate the giant insects.
Anyway, those dropships. They carry infinity ants.
In that sense, the Ravagers came back a bit.
This is one of the reasons that wing divers can't just turtle up on a rooftop.
First destroy the giant insects.
Sometimes they can. It depends on the altitude at which things are flying and how far away they are and stuff. Oh, shit.
I'll fill you with holes. Crap, I'm out of ammo.
I don't know why I backed into the wall like this.
Flying drones
Oh,
are being
Christ. I
deployed
forgot
from
that
the
they do
mothership.
that too.
It looks like the ground units will be attacked.
This is Strategic Command Headquarters. Flying drones are coming. Retreat. Hurry.
As expected. The bullets are stuck.
This is Ranger 8. The flying drones followed us. We're fighting them now. Send support!
Storm Team, Ranger 8 is battling the enemy. Go back them up.
It's my turn.
Ranger 8, Storm Team is
These
on
things are
their way
pretty easy to
rescue
kill,
you. Hold your
but their beams have a hit stagger. They don't slow you like spider webs do by sticking to you, but they can trap you in their beams sometimes more easily than spiders can, since they actually aim better. But it depends on how many there are and how many of you there are.
Commander, I won't let you die. Direct attack. We hit it. Take me with you. Nothing. Reloading. Go home, Bugs. Gotta swap my magazine. Behind you. We hit it. Back me up. There's no way. That's what you get. It's my turn. As expected. Prepare to shoot. I'm ready for battle. We'll show you how strong we really are. Crap, they're getting closer. He's back. Don't hold back. Hold the trigger. Buy me some time. Reloading now. Banzai! Victory!
Ooh, good, I got the marksman rifle. Might do one or two more. I'm getting tired. I woke up really early this morning.
Select a mission.
You know what, I'm not going to do one more because I don't want to play Air Force right now. So that's all for now.